Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I'm delighted that the member for Papineau mentioned the economy and immigration, because this government has the best record of the economy, and it's absolutely unparalleled. And when it comes to immigration, nobody has opened more pathways to immigration than this government, Mr. Speaker. And I am pleased to have the opportunity to speak today regarding the Liberals' motion on a temporary foreign workers program, and I'll be splitting my time with the member for Huron-Bruce. Mr. Speaker, frankly, I'm surprised that the Liberals chose this motion for debate today, because their position on temporary foreign worker program is confusing, to say the least, and let me try to lay out some of the Liberal views on this program. On the one hand, you have the member for Markham Unionville saying that we, quote, meaning the Liberals, of course, have always said that it is a good program, unquote. On the other hand, the member for Winnipeg North just last week in the House that literally tens of thousands, if not even getting to hundreds of thousands of Canadians have been displaced. Now, which is it, Mr. Speaker? Is this a good program or a program that displaced hundreds of thousands of Canadians? Mr. Speaker, the Liberals do have a talent for exaggeration, and as the member for Markham Unionville commented that the NDP like to blame them for many things, and there is so much to blame them for, Mr. Speaker. Next, they criticize the government for the swift action that was taken to place an immediate moratorium on the food services sector's access to the program when serious allegations were raised in the industry. I can't understand why they have an objection to swift, decisive action and leadership. Why is it suddenly not good enough now? But then last week they supported an NDP motion to place a complete moratorium on the entire low-skill stream of the temporary foreign worker program, which would have impacted seasonal, agricultural and many other streams. So what is so strange about this, Mr. Speaker, is the member for King Hants himself has been on the record saying that, quote, reducing access to temporary foreign workers could actually threaten Canadian jobs, unquote. And that, quote again, temporary foreign workers are an important part of the production chain and the value chain, unquote. Which is it, Mr. Speaker? They can't decide. You know, they claim that this program is, quote, hurting the middle class, unquote. It seems as though as soon as all the academics and experts dispel their myth that the middle class was being squeezed, they are now turning and blaming temporary foreign workers. Mr. Speaker, if policy was a chair, they'd all be sitting on the floor. Mr. Speaker, the confusion from the opposition continues. After they allege that this program displaces hundreds of thousands of Canadians, they go on to say that they are fine with this program so long as these temporary foreign workers become permanent residents. Let me quote the member for Markham Unionville. Quote, allow more temporary foreign workers and international students to become permanent residents, unquote. It seems to me that Liberals seem to want to take the temporary out of the temporary foreign worker program and do not care if Canadians are displaced in the process. But, Mr. Speaker, the hypocrisy continues. The Liberals in their motion ask for stronger rules for employers to look for Canadians. In fact, Mr. Speaker, let me read off the list of stronger rules that the Liberals have voted against. The authority to conduct on-site inspections to make sure employers are meeting the conditions of the program.
They voted against that.
You did. Introducing legislative authority to impose significant financial penalties for employers who break the rules.
That too?
The ability to ban non-compliant employers from the program for 2 years and immediately add their names to a public blacklist.
Why would they vote against that?
Requiring employers who legitimately rely on temporary foreign workers due to a lack of qualified Canadian applicants have a plan to transition to a Canadian workforce over time. Sounds pretty reasonable to me. Requiring employers pay temporary foreign workers at the prevailing wage by removing the existing wage flexibility. Adding questions to employer LMO applications to ensure that the temporary foreign worker program is not used to facilitate the outsourcing of Canadian jobs. Voted against that. Introducing fees for employers for LMO processing and increasing the fees for work permits so that hard-working taxpayers are no longer subsidizing these costs. They don't care about taxpayers. Making English and French the only languages that can be used as a job requirement when hiring through the temporary foreign worker process, and suspending the accelerated labour market opinion process. Mr. Speaker, after all of this, Liberal MPs continue to come up to the Minister of Employment and ask for denied labour market opinions to be approved and for more temporary foreign workers in their riding. I guess that this shouldn't be a surprise, because the only constant positions Liberals have on this is hypocrisy, or simply that they are just very, very confused, Mr. Speaker. So let me recap what we've heard from Liberals. First, this is a good program, but it displaces hundreds of thousands of Canadians. Second, they criticize our government's action to place a moratorium on the food services sector, but vote with the NDP, who they criticize, to shut down the entire low-skill stream. Third, they say that reducing access to temporary foreign workers threatens Canadian jobs, but then they argue that the program is hurting the middle class. Fourth, they say that they're okay with the program so long as the temporary foreign workers who come in can become Canadian citizens. And fifth, they want the minister to overturn negative LMOs by independent public servants so that they can have more temporary foreign workers in their riding. Lastly, they ask for stronger rules, yet vote against every single one of the stronger rules that this government has put forward, Mr. Speaker. I really would like them to decide. Mr. Speaker, it's quite clear that the only party with a plan to fix this program is our Conservative government. Under the leadership of this government and this Prime Minister, Canadians know that they will always be first in line for available jobs. That is why our government is committed to looking at even more reforms to the temporary foreign worker program to ensure that employers make great efforts to recruit and train Canadians that is only used as a last and a limited resort when Canadians are not available. Canadians can't count on our government to fix this program. That is why, Mr. Speaker, we will be, and I will be, opposing this motion. Mr. Speaker, just a correction, I'm going to be splitting my time with the member for Peace River instead. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm now ready for questions.
Questions and comments? The Honourable Member for Newton North Delta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was fascinated by the comment from my colleague across the way that this government has done more to open up immigration than any other government. I don't know which planet he's been living on, but certainly not been paying too much attention to what his government has been doing, because I've seen more doors being shut than at any other time during our history. But specifically going back to the temporary foreign worker program, what does my colleague have to say to Canadians and permanent residents living in Alberta and British Columbia who had unemployment increased, especially in amongst our youth, by up to 4% due to the increase in the number of temporary foreign workers in the lower streamed class? And by the way, these are not made-up numbers. These are numbers released by the C.D. Howe Institute after having researched this for a lengthy period. So what does my colleague have to say to those living in Canada who have lost jobs?
The Honourable Member for Etobicoke Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I do thank the Honourable Member for her question. But she is living in an NDP haze. I mean, she's not living in the same country, same great country I live in, because when I travel the world and I listen to people from other places in Canada dream of becoming a Canadian citizen, dream of having the system of laws and governance that we have, this is something that I take great heart and great pride in as being member of the Conservative Party of Canada, Mr. Speaker. And, you know, and the member herself, like many of her party, you know, they pretend to stand up and feign outrage when there's allegations that Canadian workers in the oil sands, for example, are replaced by foreign workers. But if the NDP got their way, they would shut down those same oil sands and throw all of those Canadians out of work. So how do they square themselves with their own hypocrisy, Mr. Speaker? How do they look at themselves in the morning? I really don't know.
Questions and comments? The Honourable Member for Winnipeg North.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the member across the way needs a bit of a reality check. When he talks about the government has a plan to fix the program, he needs to understand that it is the Conservative government, the Minister of Immigration, the Minister of Human Resources, that broke the program. The program was working well before this Conservative government took office, Mr. Speaker. So the problem that they are trying to fix is a problem that they created, Mr. Speaker. The Liberal Party has always been supportive of an effective temporary foreign program. We've always been supportive of trying to enhance the ways in which individuals can immigrate to Canada, in which society here in Canada would benefit, Mr. Speaker, and the immigrant would be able to benefit. My question is, will he at the very least acknowledge the reality that we have in excess of over 300,000 foreign workers today, when in fact, when they had taken office, it was well under 200,000, closer to, I believe, about 160,000, that they are the government that needs to take responsibility, that the Prime Minister needs to say, look, we messed up. That's the reason why the moratorium is necessary. That's the reason why the program needs to be fixed. Will he stand and admit that the program is broken, and it's been broken because of mismanagement?
The honourable member for Etobicoke Centre.
Oh, dear Mr. Speaker. The honourable member is a delightful chap, but, you know, he's given the flights of fancy. This government is accountable and responsible. It has created one of the strongest, best nations in the world, Mr. Speaker, certainly within the G7, and I have tremendous confidence, faith, and pride in what we have done as a government to build up Canada and to build up pathways to immigration, to build up the program. The minister himself has acted very swiftly and decisively to a problem that was identified. That's the right thing to do. We were accountable and responsible to do that, and we've stepped up and we're doing that. And does the Liberal member himself believe that it was appropriate for his own leader to lobby our government to approve a temporary foreign worker, a cook, for his father's favourite Montreal restaurant? Mr. Speaker, I ask you.